Welcome to Global Insiders Podcast. I am Ryan, the peripatetic one, bringing you information about opportunities relating to jobs, traveling, and any information that can elevate you to your rightful place in this thing called life. You can find more information and how-to methods on globalinsidersgroup.com. That is insiders with an S. And here is today's show. Hello, insiders.
Cool.
I hope you are all doing well. Job hunting can be difficult, and it is 100 times so when you are living in a foreign country. However, my guest today looked at those odds and still believed in himself. Today, he will share a story with us about his process. Welcome to the show, Brandon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Please introduce yourself to the insiders.
Okay, so my name is Brandon Virgo. I'm from Jamaica, and I've been in Japan with the JET program for about 5.5 years.
Okay, excellent. 5.5 years. And
Yes.
Jamaica to Japan. Why move from Jamaica to Japan?
That's a good question. Why I moved from Jamaica to Japan? Why I moved from the island, the vacation island, Jamaica, to the cold Japan, right?
Yes.
Firstly, I grew up in Jamaica, education wise, university, high school, everything. I've worked in Miami and New York for a while, and I worked in Jamaica as well. My family is based between Jamaica and America, right? But no one is based in Asia.
Okay, yeah.
So I just wanted to be the odd one out, like the
Yeah.
black sheep to try living in Asia and try to make it in Asia. Basically,
Okay.
then I chose Japan.
Okay, you wanted a new adventure. You wanted to be a bit different from what you have been seeing so
Yes,
far. Okay. All right,
yes,
understood.
basically.
So you say you worked in the States for a while. How do you compare working in Jamaica working in Japan and working in the States? How do you compare the three of them?
Okay, so definitely working in Jamaica is a bit more relaxed and a bit more chill. People, because it's your own culture, you get me? So I guess you get along with people more. Whereas in the States, you are around a lot more different cultures. So in the States, I worked with people from Puerto Rico, Mexico, Brazil, like many, many different cultures. I worked with people from Korea, China. So the difference basically, you interact with more cultures in America.
Okay.
While in Japan, it's a very homogeneous country where I think 99 or 97% of the population is Japanese. So if you're working in Japan and you're working at a Japanese company, then you're going to be immersed in the Japanese culture, basically. You're going to be around Japanese language, Japanese people for the majority of the day.
Okay. So that is the big difference that you experience. The
Yeah,
mixing of cultures and
the
and
difference in
yeah.
cultures as well.
Okay, and the
hmm
differences in cultures. All right. Understood. So university. What did you study at university?
So I went to the University of the West Indies, right? And I did a double major in electronics and alternative energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what was that? How was that experience?
It was good. It was, let's see. I've always liked the sciences. I've always liked engineering. So that was good for me. But surprisingly, after finishing that degree, I have not really worked in engineering per se. I've always been in an administrative or managerial position, surprisingly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, how does that affect you? Do you feel good about that or bad about that?
That's a good question. Okay, in Japan, there's a word that you use like Motai,
Yes.
meaning
Okay,
yeah,
continue with the definition. So for those who
yeah.
don't
It
know, yeah.
basically means like what a waste, or yeah, basically means what a waste. Like a wasted opportunity or thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, how do I feel about that? I would have loved to work in a more engineering role, but you just have to work with the cards that the universe deals you, right?
Yes.
So I had a choice basically. So because I did a double major in renewable energy and alternative energy, when I was in Jamaica, I worked at a company called Solar Buzz, and it's a very progressive company. In renewable energy, they do solar, wind, and energy efficiency, right? While I was there, I was the energy auditing manager
Yes.
for the company. And basically what I did, I just went around different houses, companies, establishments, and audited their electricity,
Okay.
right? And then after doing that, I moved up to the general energy manager for a short while before coming to Japan. So yeah, I haven't really used my degree per se to the full extent that I should.
Should have. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Understood. So moving to Japan, I mean, it's a different culture from what persons from the West know, and
Vastly different.
Yes. So what was your first impressions like of Japan? Like, if you can go back to that time, when you just entered.
If I can go back, oh man, that was a long time ago. Like, so before coming to Japan, like I honestly had no idea about Japan. Like the only exposures that I've had were probably from anime, manga, or just before coming, we had like a 2-week crash course, a 2-week crash course for Japan, where they taught us like the do's and the don'ts of the culture and some basic greetings. But my mind was blown when I came over here initially because it's a bit high paced. It's not as high paced as New York, but there is, I don't know, people are constantly busy here. I feel people are constantly on the go. Also, it's a developed country, so that's good. Things are very convenient here, and if you know the language, then you're good. If you don't know the language, then it can be incredibly frustrating just to try to break that language barrier, because even though there are many ALTs here, the English language isn't well known and understood here. So that was very challenging at first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you deal with that challenge?
So when I first came over here, being on the JET program, thankfully JET program takes care of their employees, takes care of the ALTs. We had access to interpreters, we had access to people who would help us set up your phone, set up your internet, set up everything. So that was good. But the day-to-day like dealings, like talking to the bus driver, figuring your way to somewhere. How did I deal with that? Google Translate was my friend. Google Translate was my friend. And also, I think for people who are coming over to Japan, if you're in a city, most cities will have a helpline for foreigners where you can access interpreters for free. So that's what I used as well. And I also studied because I mean, no one wants to be dependent on people, for everything. So I like my independence, and I wanted that freedom to do whatever I wanted without having someone interpret it for me. So I studied. I hit the ground running and studied.
All right, and can you give us 2 or 3 study tips, like for someone who's just starting out with the language? No, I mean,
Study tips.
yeah, for someone
Okay,
who's just
I get
starting
you.
out, yeah.
Okay. Study tips. YouTube. YouTube is your
Okay.
friend. YouTube is a free resource that you can learn anything from. Um, so try search for good teachers on YouTube that you can relate to and that you can learn from. Secondly, I would say study the basics. Example, the greetings, the look for words that you normally use in English and then look for the translation in those in Japanese. And those are going to be your anchor words, like the words that you go to. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, those are some good tips. So thank you for that. Um, so it took you how long you would say to adjust?
I'm still adjusting.
Still adjusting.
I'm still
I
adjusting.
mean, but to have that feeling of being free and having that feeling of
Okay.
independence, how long did it take you for that one?
Oh Jesus, man. That's another story. Okay. It took around 3 years, honestly, because when I first came here, the first year that I was here, I basically absorbed. I had fun, basically, and I was around a lot of other ALTs and a lot of foreigners as well. But if you're coming to Japan, what you'll notice is that your circle of friends change frequently or year to year because people get frustrated and go back home. People go back home for different reasons, Maybe they have family, they have work, they have stuff to do. They go home and they leave, or they move on to different cities. So when I was in Sendai, my core circle moved, they left Japan. So I was forced to basically learn Japanese and to form a new core group of Japanese people. So that helped me out as well. That having Japanese people to talk to and practice my Japanese with helped me as well. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. Great answer. So if someone is thinking about moving to Japan, how much money should they put aside to move to Japan? Your rough estimate. Rough estimate.
All right. My rough estimate, and this is someone that's coming not on the JET program, just on anything, just
Yes.
on like a program that isn't going to help them.
Yes.
Hmm.
Rough estimate.
All right.
Rough estimate.
A rough estimate. I'm going to give you 2 estimates.
Okay.
If you're coming to Tokyo, you're going to want to have, if you're going to Tokyo, Osaka, or Fukuoka, try to have at least 400 to 600,000. 400 to 600,000, just to be comfortable, just to be okay for just to set up that when you come, right? 400 to 600,000. If you're in the countryside, like Iwate or anywhere that's not in a urban area, then 400 is the max, like 300 to 400,000, and you're good. But then again, yeah, so city area, 600, okay. 600 you'll be good for at least 2 to 3 months. Good, set up everything, your apartment, get furniture, everything. But if you're in the countryside, then 400 is okay. That's my estimate. And I'm going to tell you why I gave such a high estimate, right?
Yes.
Because when I first came here, I came here with jets, and they told me 300,000 as my base. But you have to understand that coming on the jet program, I was moving into a house that was already furnished. They had fridge, they had stove, they had furniture, everything. I didn't really have to buy much. The only thing I had to do was start my internet, buy a phone, and that's it. Now, if you're coming to Tokyo, chances are, if you're moving into an apartment that's not furnished, you're going to need to buy everything.
Okay.
I just moved into an apartment today, actually, and you have to buy the previous tenants took the lights.
Oh, really? The bulbs and everything.
They took the lights and the AC. So you're gonna have to buy everything for your startup, and that includes your fridge, your couch, your TV, your everything. And if you're moving to a countryside, then you're gonna probably want a car. Okay. And a used car is gonna cost you around 200,000 about.
Okay.
So yeah, just think about those costs.
All right, understood. So let's get into the work. So what was that experience like, or what is it like teaching?
Teaching. Teaching is a great experience that I think a lot of people should experience, because if you can think back to when you were a student, right? I don't think when I look back at my past as a student, I didn't appreciate the work that my teacher put in to do the classes and to come to class every day and to provide us with an education. You get me?
Yes.
Being a teacher, being in that role now, I can fully appreciate the hard work and the dedication that teachers have. It's an awesome job, and you get to basically mold these children's perspective, basically.
Yeah, and view of the world.
View of the world, exactly. Because in most cases, you're going to be the only foreigner that they really interact with. So if that interaction is cold and is frigid and is, then they're going to have like an iffy perspective of foreigners. But if you can come and you're warm and you're welcoming, then that will help them to open up more and to be curious about foreign cultures. And so not only Jamaica, but America, Australia, Canada, they're going to be willing to seek out other cultures.
Okay, understood. Nice. I like that. And the work environment. I mean, you spoke a little about it earlier, but working in Japan, I mean, based on what we see on television and so forth, we might have our own perspective. But what is the culture really like? The work culture there?
The work culture here. All right. Okay. I'm gonna give you. I worked at a school. I am working at a school, right? And how it is, they're busy. Like you're talking about coming to school at 7:30 and leaving at 10.
Wow.
For teachers.
Wow.
So they are. I mean, that's not like a one-off thing,
Yes.
Some teachers do that almost every day.
Wow.
Not all teachers do that, but some do. You get me? Like, I would say a good number of them do that. Or they come to school 7 and they leave 6, 7, 8, 9. The hours are long.
Yes.
Working in Japan. So as an ALT, you don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to talk about a Japanese company yet, but as an ALT, you don't have to worry about that because you have a set time from 8 to 4 and you're good. But your colleagues are going to be at work way after you leave. And then be prepared for meetings. Meetings are a staple here for any industry that you're in. The meetings will be long. You will have no idea what's happening, but you have to push through. Okay. Meetings are something that's inbred in the culture here.
Okay.
What else? And just I would say my number one tip for ALTs coming into Japan, or if anyone coming into Japan, is that in most cases, they won't necessarily tell you what to do.
Okay.
You have to be proactive and look around and find something to do.
Oh.
And that is not only for teaching jobs, because I just did my a few interviews for different companies, and that's one of the things that they pushed, that at times you will have nothing to do, but you have to find things to do and find ways to be busy.
Okay.
And I think if you can do that, if you can find ways to help, then that's a good asset to have.
All right, you have to be proactive. You have to be yes, you have to be on the ball. Okay, well,
can I speak about something else as well?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so I also volunteered at a farmer's market and a farm in Kawasaki, right? And that was basically like work, because I was basically working with them during that time. I did that for 3 years, right? And work, if you're coming into right now, I think they have a new program where people come and they help with farms and stuff like that.
Yes.
Right? If you're coming in on that program, be prepared to work. The people who own the farm and the farmers market would get up at 5.
Yes.
And they would continue working until late in the night as well, and they'd be out in the fields and doing stuff. So it's hard work working here.
Okay. That's very hard work you're saying. I'm working in the fields. Yeah. Okay, understood. All right, so I mean, you have talked a bit about it, so let's get deeper into it now. So how do you go beyond being a teacher in Japan? Because you started off as a teacher and now you're moving beyond that. So how do you go about going beyond being a teacher in Japan?
Okay. So I'm going to speak about the JET program because that's what I'm on and that's what I know.
Definitely.
But I'll also touch other things as well.
Okay.
So on the JET program, they have a special thing for ALTs. They have an after JET career fair.
Okay.
Right? You can be a JET or you can be a past JET, and that is open to you, and you can go and you can get information about transitioning from ALT to a normal job. Right? So I went to the career fair that they provided, and it's basically you have a huge room and you have different companies with booths, right? And if you're interested in that company, you go, they talk to you, you hand in your resume, you hand in a personal information sheet that has all your data, and then if they like you, they'll contact you.
Okay.
For further interviews, right?
And the resume is all in Japanese, or?
I would advise you, or advise anyone, if you're looking to transition, do your resume in English and Japanese. I had both English and Japanese because the people who are going to be employing you, chances are they're going to be Japanese.
Okay.
So you want them to be able to understand what you bring to the table. But don't feel that if you're not a JET or if you're not a JET, then all is lost. I'm also gonna touch on like ways that non-JET ALTs can look for jobs, right?
Yes.
So the After JET Career Fair is in February to March, right? And the Japanese year ends in March and starts in April. And that's where people start their new jobs. That's the start of the financial year in Japan, right? April. So that's where most people get hired. So if you're not a JET, then you should be aiming for that time period, March to April, right? But you have to start your prep early. So there are a number of different websites or recruiting agencies that you can use and contact, and they can help you to get jobs. When I traveled to Australia for Christmas, right, and New Year's, and that was in December to January. While I was there, I applied to recruiting agencies in Japan. Recruit Agent, you have N-World, you have Dye Job, you have a few of them that you can apply to, and their recruiters will help you. They will help you, work with you to find a job that suits you.
And this is regardless of your Japanese level?
So in some cases, okay. So, all right.
What I'm trying to get at, right, is this. I'm trying to find out if a job seeker should be overly concerned about their Japanese level.
All right. If you understand zero Japanese, chances are the field is not going to be as open to you. Your chances are not going to be as wide or as varied as someone who understands Japanese, but there are still opportunities for you, right? You can still do teaching jobs. You can do recruitment jobs. Yeah, you don't have to be overly concerned. There are jobs here for you. If you don't speak Japanese, that's fine.
Okay.
But if you do speak Japanese, then the world is yours. And if you speak another language, make it known, because they're seeking people who speak Spanish, French, German, another language too.
Okay. So basically, from your experience, the job search process starts with getting to an agency like the N-World or the Die Jobs. Okay.
Yeah, the job search process starts with finding good recruiting agencies. I would say N-World is good. Morgan McKinley is good. Die Job is also a site that you go to and you can apply for jobs that they post on the site. Also, Gaijin Pot is good, and LinkedIn is a good one too, because recruiters actually scour LinkedIn for possible employees. So those are good resources to get sorted.
All right, good. So, what are some of the challenges people can expect if they decide to do a job search? What happened to you? Like what,
location.
Okay, the location.
All right. The main. Okay, this is the next thing too. If you're going to start doing the interviews, right? How it works in Japan is that you say for instance you're in Sendai and the interview's in Tokyo. You have to pay for yourself to go to Tokyo and back. The company won't necessarily pay for you. But you have some companies that are, if you're lucky, that will pay for you. But in most cases, they won't. So you have to, that's another huge, I'd say budget, maybe 200,000 for the job, if you're starting like the whole job searching process, because even if you're in Hokkaido and you have to come to Tokyo or go to Osaka, at $60,000 just for the flight.
Yes.
So it's not cheap, so start saving for that. And then you talk about hotel. You talk about you have to buy suits. You have to look the part.
Yes.
And in Japan the interview process: black suit, white shirt, white dress shirt, and a good tie, clean shoes, and a good work bag. You have to look the part.
Only black suit.
That's the status quo here. I've seen some people risk it and wear blue or gray, but how it is, it's black suit.
Not even pinstripe. Black.
Black.
Yeah. Okay. Got that. All right. So how long does the process take from interview to hire?
It all depends, but I would say give it about 3 months, because how it is, sometimes companies you'll have a first interview with let's say for a branch manager, then you'll have another interview with a section manager, then you have another interview with a CEO. So you have different, it depends on how the company does their interview process, but it's different steps. So expect around 4 different interviews, and then some companies will have the interview over Skype if you're lucky and if they're nice. But some companies will want you to come to Tokyo for a group interview or for a factory tour or other things. So it depends. Like it can take 1 month. It can take a week. Like it can take a week up to 3 months.
Okay. What about for you though? What was your experience?
Okay. So last year I applied to a few companies as well, just to get the experience before I officially left the program, the JET program, right?
Yes.
So I think I had 3 interviews with N-World, and maybe, and that process was over like 2 months. And then I also had another interview with a different engineering company that was, the whole process between email and interview date was 1 month. This year, on the other hand, I started the interview process in March for the company that I'll be working at. They sent me a couple emails, responded, we set a date, went down to Tokyo, and did a factory tour, did an interview, and luckily, and this is an extremely rare case, the next day they emailed me and said they wanted me and that I should give them an answer. But the timeline that I should have given, that I had to give them the answer, was 1 week. So you have those situations as well where companies will try to lock you in as soon as possible.
Okay.
Also, I applied for a different company where I had to go to Yamanashi. And for those of you who don't know where Yamanashi is, it's near to Mount Fuji, right? So I had to go there and I had to do some interviews and I had to pay for these things by myself.
Yes.
Right? So, yeah. And I had 2 interviews with them, but then because I already decided on the company in Tokyo, I just canceled all other interviews.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. Congratulations on that. And,
thanks.
And that was fast. I like that. A day.
That was fast.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If a friend said to you that they were planning to move to Japan, what would you say to them?
I would tell them, I would say Japan is an amazing place. Japan is an amazing place for you to, 1, discover who you really are, and to discover what it is that you like, and to travel.
Okay, very good. All right.
Yeah.
And we'll quickly touch on both of those. So, I mean, you say to do what you like. Do you have any hobbies?
I do. Well, for me, I love traveling.
Okay.
Traveling is one of my passions, where I like to learn about new cultures.
Okay.
Since I've been here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since I've been here, I've been to Australia, Hawaii, Philippines, Bali, Korea, Thailand, Malaysia, China, and a few other countries.
Wow. Which is your favorite?
For beach wise, I'd say my favorite would have to be I think Australia is my favorite for everything, because
I'm so surprised to hear that, because you just listed Hawaii and all these other countries, and you're going to say for beaches Australia is the best. Come on.
No, here's the reason why.
Okay.
When I went to Australia, I went to Hamilton Island, right? And Hamilton Island is basically in the middle of the Great Barrier Reef, and it's a very beautiful. It's like a resort island.
Okay.
Everything on the island is catered to tourists. Everything. There's internet on the entire island. It was good. Before Hamilton Island, my favorite was possibly it's hard. Maybe Malaysia.
Okay.
Langkawi in Malaysia. Yeah.
Wow, awesome information here from our travelers, the ones who love to listen to the traveling, because we had no idea about this. Okay, great. Any other hobbies?
Yeah, I also do bodybuilding as well.
Okay, excellent.
So before coming to Japan, I was into the gym.
Yes.
But I wasn't per se into bodybuilding as intensely as I am now.
Okay.
But when I came to Japan and I got exposed to world-class bodybuilders, my eyes were just open, and I saw that I could compete at a world-class level as well. So I did that. I immersed myself into the bodybuilding culture here, did the dieting, did everything, entered a few competitions, and I got 5th last year for Miyagi.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that's for your prefecture, and your prefecture is like a state.
My prefecture, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and I also got 9th for Tohoku and Hokkaido.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
that's like a region, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even know that. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm also into like fitness as well, where do you know the Spartan races?
Yes, I've heard about them, yes.
Yeah. I do those as well. I'll be doing the one in Chiba soon and the other one in Aizu soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So very busy. So you do have a social life in Japan. So it's possible for people to move to Japan, and with all the hindrances with the language and so forth, for you to have a social life. That's good.
Of course, yeah. There are many foreigners here that you can interact with and talk to, especially if you're in the city. If you're in an urban area, then you'll be okay. If you're in the country,
not
Japanese
so okay.
people are lovely. I'd say you're gonna be pushed to learn Japanese more, and you're also gonna be forced to like being by yourself a lot. If you're in the country, you have to be okay with being by yourself.
Okay, understood.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you get to learn a lot about yourself, so that's important also. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're right at the end, but with all my guests, especially new guests, I like to play a word association game. So let's just dive into it. So if I say future, what do you think?
Learn.
Okay. Travel.
Packing.
Life.
Don't give up.
Okay. Instagram.
Hashtag.
Okay. Brandon, thank you for coming on the show.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
No problem. How can people continue the conversation with you if they would like to?
If they would like to continue the conversation, just add me on Instagram. My Instagram is BHV_getfit.
Okay, so that's
and they can reach me there.
BHV_getfit. Thank you so much, Brandon.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you are inspired. You can find more helpful and motivational material at globalinsidersgroup.com. That is, insiders with an S. You can also keep in touch at Global Insiders on Instagram. See you next time, but remember, you can be your own superhero. Bye.